So, yeah, this is some news I wanted to talk about because I don't review Rick and Morty on the channel. That's just because I don't have like cable TV or any of that shit. And so, like, if I was going to review Rick and Morty, it would be like after the season's way over and there'd be no point for me to talk about Rick and Morty. But I am a huge fan of the show. I actually already have season 6 on Blu ray already pre ordered. And when the news broke last week that Justin Roiland had basically done some shady stuff and, was it sexual assaulted someone? Yeah, whatever the details were, I forget like everything. Um, I know there was not some good stuff, okay? Doesn't really matter when it comes to this conversation the exact details of what he did. But basically, because of that and him possibly getting in some legal trouble, he's been dropped from the show Rick and Morty. Now, if you don't know, he is the voice of Rick and Morty in the show, and he's also one of the co-creators. So him being dropped from the show is a pretty big deal. And Adult Swim made this decision not because a lot of people are like, well, is he guilty? Is he not? I think it's pretty clear to me he's guilty, but I'm not going to say one way or the other for you. You can come to your own conclusion of whether or not you want to believe until he's guilty, until it's proven innocent, until proven guilty is a real thing in this country. So if you want to believe he's innocent, however, I have a lot of evidence to think that it's probably more likely he's probably done a lot of shady stuff that isn't great. But they did that decision just to kind of save their butt publicity wise. So I personally cannot stand this crap of like we're debating whether a lot of these people are innocent. None of us really know, but I think this show specifically creates a really big problem with this. First of all, I don't mind them getting rid of him from the show. I don't think it will change much of the show overall because I mean, we're in season what 7 of the show. If these even the Simpsons and Family Guy up until this point, the original creators did not have much sway or control over the show anymore, and that's not because they didn't want to, but this because they were so rich they really didn't have to. At that point, they were just doing voices. Like Seth MacFarlane was just voicing Stewie, Brian, and Peter, or whatever. So, like, that's where we're at with that crap. And I think that's fine. But my problem here is this: I knew some consequence had to happen. I didn't think it actually would because Rick and Morty is such a big moneymaker. The thing about it is Justin Roiland has clearly had a substance abuse problem, and most of that is speculatory. But if you literally see like to get into the character of Rick and these characters that he plays, he literally drinks, and that's not necessarily to like clown on people who drink or some shit. No, I mean it's just that he drinks heavy amounts. One of the recordings that they were sharing that was supposed to be really funny was them drinking and then him getting super inebriated to the point where he couldn't even like record all of his lines. You know, but like he probably does that sometimes pretty often, and I think that's the problem here is that I mean if he's abusing people like women, other people just in general, it probably comes from a substance abuse problem. I hate to say it like that, and that's what this is. And I think what's sad about this too is that it's not just like, oh, well, you know what? It's just Justin Roiland. Dan Harmon's great. No, Dan Harmon has had lots of accusations against him from his time on Community, things like that, and there's no punishment for him either. And that's really where I'm at with this. Is just like I don't know. I personally think the best way to respond to this shit is in Rick and Morty. It will never happen. the show's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. We're probably gonna get a Rick and Morty movie one day and all this stuff. But I think the reality is this: Rick and Morty at this point is so popular that they can't end it, but they should, because this crap puts a negative taste in the body of the show. Here's why: the show is mean spirited, nihilistic, and now there's a reason for it in the context of the show. But now it feels like an extension of the creators who are doing genuinely horrible things. There's lots of accusations about Justin Roiland being a pedophile, right? Well, how many times have people complained that a lot of these underage characters were in very sexual, weird situations? And one of the first episodes of Rick and Morty, Morty almost gets like raped in a bathroom. He was definitely sexually assaulted in that bathroom, right? But like, how do you know that Justin Roiland didn't put that in just to be funny because he likes the idea of raping kids? I'm not saying he does or isn't, but because he's done horrible things and is being accused of these things, it puts so much of that negative tone into the show that it actively makes even me, a huge fan of the show, who after all this news is still gonna watch the damn show, a little disgusted and perturbed and turned off by it, if that makes sense. I I don't know how to feel because I don't know how much is like an extension of the creator. It's kind of like Ren and Snippy. I love Ren and Snippy, but I also can't watch that much Ren and Snippy anymore because it just feels wrong. And that's where I'm at with this. You can let me know your thoughts, like, share, and subscribe, but I don't know how to feel about this Rick and Morty news. Let me know what you guys think.